Hello, ladies and Germans, how you all doing? This is Onord.
It's Rangru, low, low, low.
And folks, we are getting you some Division 1 replays today. Today, actually, on Consolidating. Who do we have, sir?
Well, on the left-hand side in the blue, we have Inshaaaa playing the Raimu Rapana with a Maverick. Right-hand side in red, we have Onord playing his 126 Mountain, also with a Maverick income, and he's going in hot and pretty cheesy early off during the Recon Bomber combo to actually get some very good hits.
You know, I kind of wonder, to me, I kind of feel like I want to hit the head of the column. This isn't something where I have other things ready there to kind of go and follow up immediately. So I can understand somewhat, but I'd really prefer to see the head of the column hit more than the tail end or even that middle piece. I don't know.
Regardless, he's managed to force pretty much a company's worth of infantry to walk to the front line, so this is going to be a pretty important opportunity for Onord to push heavy, because even though it was a pretty good hit, it does mean less ground units off the bat, so he's going to have to really take good advantage of this.
That is certainly true. Actually, I do like the fact that we're seeing those 50 mil mortars over here from the Germans. Sorry, the Finns. Wow, excuse me. But the Finns is kind of, engaging some of those DP Grupas early on. Now, of course, those guys, not a lot of range, but at the same time, a hefty amount of frontline firepower. And when you're facing off against just infantry galore, really quite necessary. You can see that actually up north right now. Jeez, there's not enough firepower there.
Yeah, it's actually a really cool push up north. You never see people trying to blitzkrieg this location at the start of the match, which I'm honestly quite surprised we don't, as it's usually pretty not that well defended. And using these cavalry tanks, zippy BT-7s, push on through and get that foothold, especially against Raimu Rapana, has worked quite well here for Onord. It's already out +2 tick.
What's kind of the curious thing about that is if you're looking at it, Inshaaaa actually was dealing with that fight kind of low and away. So this is, to kind of use the basketball term, he was screening away from the play, and yet here we are, still getting very, very successful kind of opportunities, at least to start with.
I think it's going to be pretty important for Onord to just be able to solidify his gains up north. He does have a bunch of infantry slowly making their way to the front line here. If he can get them into that village sector, hold that down, that's going to be a flag or two under his control. It should be quite juicy.
It would be. I mean, I find myself doubting that in the long term these BT-7s can hold it. Because like you said, those guys are zippy-dippy fast, but not really the best overall to hold. Now, I love this Boston's. Before this replay started, I said, looking at the actual armies themselves, I want to see crazy amounts of Boston's. And it's not because it's been such a long time, but because it is certainly more than a feeling.
Oh,
it's just
indeed.
like a plastering. It's just a spanking down south. And you see all those little sissies running away.
Oh, yeah.
But,
That's the original column which got bombed at the start, so they're having a very
yes.
bad day.
A very bad day indeed. But it has stabilized somewhat, 14-10.
Yeah, Onord has got a pretty good opener at the start here. He does seem like he has a bit of a weak front line down south here. We're seeing Inter actually trade pretty effectively using those 50mm mortars and just the heavy, well, not heavy duty, but effective support weaponry available to the Finns, machine guns, the snipers and all of that, do trade effectively. So Inshaaaa, he just needs to get some more reinforcements actually onto the front line here, and he could probably start taking back some territory in the center.
Yeah, that's the curious thing, isn't it? Is, yes, both these guys are doing Maverick, which, of course, standard meta. But if we're looking at the way the actual divisions themselves are built, the Finns aren't going to be really that whole kind of tank group, for obvious reasons. But what they are going to be is just superlative infantry as go further and further along, especially into B and C phase. There's just another 50 squads, and, well, the Russians tend to dry up pretty quickly here.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty much just a battle of the infantry, so to speak. Of course, yeah, Onord does have a bit of a bad tank tab, as he's not just relegated to using T-26s here. I think it's going to be pretty important for Inshaaaa to probably play heavy down south. I mean, Forests and Finns go together hand in hand, like Finns and vodka. So being able to just push on through, use those CQC troops and the Molotovs to win these close quarters engagements.
I'm looking forward to seeing the Finns giving the Soviets their old Molotov cocktails back, but in the meantime, it's watching as this 50 mil just slowly creeps its way up to the northern side. probably pick up one BT7 eventually. But the other one has already kind of resighted himself down in the center part of the map. And the only one really there is the Jakari, which doesn't really want to run afoul of 3 squad quarter trophies, so it makes perfect sense.
Indeed. Yeah, he's actually done a decent job at least keeping the BT7s alive and not, like, fully eating them into the front line here. P40 coming on in. I think it's also going to be pretty important here for Onord to maintain that air supremacy. And, well, he's going to be fighting and bombing that Blindheim.
What was the question? Where's the Blindheim going?
It's going down now.
Yep, but he's also going to go and at least get the bombs away. So, question is, will he have given his life for a worthwhile cause? I mean, could have been worse.
Imagine going up to the pearly gates, St. Peter's, being like, hey, oh, I martyred myself. Was it worth it? Could have done better, buddy, you know.
Coin flip, really? I mean, you know, St. Peter shaking the 8-ball, too soon to tell, ask again later. Oh, shit.
There's no second tries, we're not Buddhists, so just go in and just live with the regret.
We're going to see T-26s being brought up from the northern side, a pair of them, a brace, if you will, kind of coming on in. And just more troops being diverted to the center. But down south, you know, they've taken their sweet time getting here. But these Pioneeri and the Shikari, I don't know, I think they're going to have these Chronostrokies on the run.
Yeah, it's a complete and utter blue tide here. It seems like this match is going to develop between, you know, the battle of flanks. Who's going to win the northern race or the southern race? There's a problem here for Inshaaaa, however, is that even though the southern side is a pretty juicy part of the map, there's not exactly a whole lot of flags here compared to the northern end. So if Onord can keep up the pressure up north, he should be doing better in terms of victory points.
True. And actually down south he's bringing in a pair of 50 mils, which will be more than enough to absolutely shut this push down.
We can just get those important hits in. The other car is already getting in close. Yeah, we've just seen a whole heap of reinforcements, all the superiors to stop the Finnish tide.
Yeah, I was watching the northern side, T-26 to take down the lead BT-7. Bizarrely enough, once B-phase hits, we're going to have Lees hitting the field, and Lees are not going to be matched easily.
Yeah, just because you're fighting against Reimer Rapana, you know, they have a terrible, probably some of the worst anti-tank ground-based in game. Those M3 Lees, but they're not going to be heavy tanks, but they're going to be a proper medium tank in this case, at least.
Yes, indeed. Sissy to the northern side, taking 800 kilograms of bombs, and shockingly enough, not dying.
Must have drank her milk.
Yeah, they got out of bed this morning having their Wheaties, or whatever passes for that over here in Finland. Chronostrokies, in the meantime, running afoul of Kavari over here in the center, as those single DP-28s, I would think they have a dual DP-28, a single DP-28, engaging and catch them out in the open. Very luckily for them, those snipers cannot capture them. Very, very fortunate indeed, that case.
Indeed. I think it's going to be pretty important here for Inshaaaa to... Oh, P40 coming in. Going to be bombing that sniper in the church tower. But it's going to be pretty important here for Inshaaaa to probably maintain the town in the center. Because you can use that as a leverage of fire support to start, you know, poking into the side of this northern push here for Onord.
Yeah, no, we do find ourselves in a curious position. First of all, P40 goes down due to the dual Vickerton 20 mils. But we're in the curious position right now that the T-26s are actually scary tanks. I mean, sort of.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty much a who can shoot who first scenario in this northern push. And well, when you have more T-26s and BT-7s in this case, you know, the numbers don't lie. Numbers allow you to win wars.
That's true. That's true. So long as you have one left and they had nothing left, success. We are going to discover that one of the 50 mil mortars is probably going to get his bacon cooked. Yep, there he goes down. That's actually a very bad beat. That was a necessary piece of equipment, I think, to keep back the blue tide. The tide rises further in the south.
Yeah, he is keeping this momentum up pretty strong. He's going to be able to get that all-important crossroad junction. Not just for the flag point, but it just completely shuts off reinforcements down south here. But we're seeing Onord, he's holding somewhat strong. The 50 mil is trying to do its darndest. This might get pretty tight.
Well, right now he's got the benefit that the corner stroke DP, those over there with triple DPs, it's a good enough base of fire that the Rata Pionieri, just 9 bolt actions are not going to be enough.
Yeah, that's the real problem with Finnish infantry. Apart from like snipers, they don't have the greatest long-range firepower. They much prefer to get close and personal.
Yes, they do. And unfortunately, we are only into Phase B right now, and he's down 15-9.
Oh, heavy amount of anti-air going to be warding off the Boston. T-26 is up north, flanking about. It should be able to kill the BT-7, and I think this is going to allow Inshaaaa to regain the northern farm.
Yes, indeed. Because the DP group was, one thing, this is a Bren group by any other name, but still smell as shit. Because unfortunately, you pack 4 guys into an infantry group, but the 45 mil, now that's going to be just enough, I would say.
That's so 10 mil for each person.
Exactly. Blenheim being brought on in, he's going to have 45 mil. Wouldn't be surprised if we see another P-40 being scrambled to deal with that. Maybe even Hurricane. Yeah, maybe the Hurricane. That's still 75 being brought in. He says, nope, never mind, this is more important.
Yep. And it goes down. Blenheim should be able to get away. Only just one. Oh, never mind. Caster's Curse should just, once again, never say anything. Trin 25 mils proven to be quite deadly.
Yes, indeed. Now, to the south, we actually are seeing our first lead. Oh, no, excuse me. Several leads being brought onto the field. At the head of a very huge column of Russian infantry.
This is a lot of dudes. It's curious to see what he's... of course, he's going to try to push heavy down south. And he still has the point advantage. But I have a feeling this is going to kind of screw him up a bit up north. Because we're just seeing the blue tide kind of switch directions into the center.
And that's somewhat true, I would say. But I feel like, defending territory is a lot easier than taking territory. And when you have aerial artillery doing its thing, he might lose the Boston. Okay, that's going to stink. In fact, there he goes. But the bombs, that's still enough. That's still enough to really, really kind of cause some hassles here.
Oh yeah, it's getting juicy down south. The infantry getting in very close and personal. But the Finns in the defensive position in that forest. Going to hold for a bit, but I don't think they're going to hold for much longer.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think between the Lee and Duke support, just some of those close-in fighters that they have in terms of the Gornos, yeah, I think there's going to be enough to actually shift them.
And the 50 mils coming in. Very clumped up infantry squad. That should be pretty good here. But the problem for Onord of his southern push is that going to regain the forest, which is nice and all, but there's not really any other flags to take. It's just a lot of empty territory.
Now, Call Superior Squad's going to be engaged with Kaivari. Kind of fascinated because this should really only end in one way. But the question is, how many of the Kaivaris can take with them? But no, the first burst off. Jeez.
Oh, he's just going to bomb it to hell and back.
And the infantry isn't going to get out in time.
Oh.
Yikes.
Oh, Hawk being brought in.
Yeah, the Hawk
goes to the Boston.
It's not going to work because Zist is still there. And yeah, he's going to get pushed away just now. Looking to the center side, though, T-26s are enough that, at least for the instant, he can take the center. So again, a couple of DP Grupos, but he pushes these guys back. He picks up 2 more flags. He goes up in that bleed of -2 over here against Onord. So Inshaaaa might be hurting, but he's not out yet. Recon Boston goes down, courtesy of that Hawk. But, yeah. How's it developing here? Looking at the map overall, what are your thoughts?
Definitely seems that Onord has not treated yet efficiently. Just looking, there's a lot more blue map than it is red. It's going to come down to pretty much, I think, just the, I'm going to say, heavy tanks, medium tanks, the M3Ls, of being able to trade efficiently. But with just so much of a target-rich environment, even with 2 bloody tank cannons and a lot of machine guns, think the Lees may be a little bit outnumbered.
Yeah, that's kind of my thought here as well. Actually, if you look at the northern side, what had been a very, very red forest, well, it's starting to feel a little bit blue. M3 is going to go and try to push that back. Vatsuvakis, though, are going to go and really pound those Strelkies. And the Dushka, while being a nice little 12-7, I don't think that's enough, especially when you have the Sissy sitting over there in kind of close support.
Oh, off-map artillery being brought in down south. Which, honestly, you probably could use that a little bit more in the center here, considering this is where the big push is coming from. And, well, that's a lot of flags he's going to potentially lose.
Yeah, it's at the Jakari right now. You see some Gornos being rushed in to kind of cut him off. So the question is, whether the Jakaris can engage in the
I like it.
Get in the building! Get in the building! By
Oh, like
all that's
claustrophobic.
holy. Like, oh my gosh, like, if he's in the building, that is an actual winnable engagement. I mean, it is 15-9, so, you know, he's really just playing for time here. But there's a very winnable engagement against a Gorno if you're in the building, he's not.
I do like where off-map artillery is being called forever, actually hitting the southern part of the town, trying to take that oh-so-critical village junction. Even though, once again, not really any flags here, if he can get this village back under control, you can really start putting a good amount of pressure up north and try to shut down the central push.
And yeah, that's kind of question here, isn't it? Now, fascinating for me, you have the 76-2 in the middle, you have the 203 engaging down south. My question is there enough, not just to push this back? So you can see right now there's going to be a good number of surrenders here in just a moment. Because another thing, so the Finns, I think, suffer from not having enough officer kind of leadership here. But is there enough to kind of backstop this from Inshaaaa side?
I think he should be fine. Just he still has like a real line defense and a whole lot of troops, and his troops aren't getting killed. They're just running back for the time being. So he can afford to lose some territory to save lives. And right now he's got that 14-10. We're what 2.5 minutes out into C phase here. So you can probably just hold, not get too aggressive, and just keep trying to get those positive trades.
That does seem to be the case. We're seeing right now, there's a couple of Gornos still up top. There's that Dushka was putting it down a hell of a lot of fire over here on the Jakaris in the open field. But in the center, we are seeing these getting picked off one by one by one by one between either the 45 mil door knockers or the 50 mils, you know, just kind of shelling from long range.
Just using their long range quite effectively here. I think, yeah, both sides are trying to play a little bit all the way up north, but I don't think much is really going to develop. It'll probably just be a stalemate. I think the real question here for Onord is, where does he try to push to pick up the flag advantage? He can either try to... He's not going to make the northern central push happen again, the initial BT7 rush. He probably either has to grind over the central town, or maybe just try to push very heavy down south and cap some of these flags along the forested road.
And see, looking at this right now, I think the mountain, I don't think he built with the later game in mind. I mean, the immediate pushback is, duh, he picked a Maverick. But there's a way to still kind of be building for the end game. Boston over here going to absolutely shellac the leading edge of this. But I think the K-Pals are going to be able to get out. Yes, they are completely unhurt. But there are ways to play for the late game. I think that the Finns have been able to do that. Is that Boston dead? Yep, Boston goes down.
Yeah, for Onord, he only has 68 infantry cards or what's available compared to 90. And, you know, time and time again, Ruse, you see, you want to try to take at least one card of C phase infantry. Of course, you don't want to plan to survive till C phase, but usually plans don't survive contact. And just having just that insurance of C phase 27 per card spam to hold the front line when crap hits a fan, like it is right now here, it's good insurance to have.
Well, and that's the thing here. So looking down to the southern side, I feel like this Gorno Superi kind of column that's hitting the front, there was a Lee. And I say there was because by the same token you made the comment about no plan to survive first contact with the enemy. Now that did that Lee to the northwestern side, you can see that, let's say, southern-inspired tanks not really a sight we see on this battlefield any longer. And even it kind
We could have used her at Gettysburg.
of sure. Continuing the kind of issues, actually, it's the 152 off map. He's in the northern side. Of course, Recon wouldn't be surprised to see a quick little drop over there on top of that Dushka. Oh no, never mind. He's just gonna bring the Blenheim on him. Okay.
Completely blowout position up here. But yeah, its northern position, it's actually going to work quite well here for Inshaaaa. And this is always a juicy spot. Not one, not two, but 3 flags in close proximity. And all in forest, just like, that's the finished stream right here.
It is. The only way that would get any better is if there were, like, a skiing opportunity for them.
And a sauna.
Yes, exactly. It's like biathlon. But Strokey's in the open. These guys are outnumbered and outfought, and they're in the middle of their own little private Monty, which I think is wonderful that the Finns are having like that moment of cultural exchange with them.
We've seen the 155 also be brought out of Inshaaaa, using that to counter battery some of these machine gun and artillery positions, which pretty good call, because that's really going to stop him from actually pushing up north here. So you want to get those guys off the chessboard.
I do want to note, too, the next 203 barrage, unfortunately, is going to be very, very ill-placed, as it, well, gets shifted out to the southwest. But the previous barrage that had been there had been pushed just too far west from where it needed to be. P-26 in the meantime going to move up, going to start to engage that lee imminently, let's call it. Maybe not yet, but imminently. And I don't know, I feel like this might be assessing a little bit too early, but I will say that things don't look good over here for Onord.
Oh, 100%. I mean, once again, if you just zoom out all the way, it's just many more blue things than red things. And the territorial losses for Onord has just been pretty fatal at this point. I don't think he can actually retake any territory effectively.
No, it doesn't seem likely on that one, although I will say the 50 mils, I think, were a little bit squandered in this particular game for Onord, unfortunately.
I think it's just this match mainly just came down to efficient trading, and Inshaaaa just traded very effectively, especially down south in the more forestry environment. Onord had a lovely push at the start with the BT-7s in the north central position. He just couldn't consolidate it long enough, get the heavy reinforcements to actually hold you at position.
Conversely, there is one spot that's holding very, very well, and it's that single Dushka to the north. Gordon Stroke is getting hit by 152, which is why, honestly, I'm not even bothered counting them. But the Dushka back there, if it comes down that road, he's killing it. So it's just like, it's not a particularly sunny moment, I think, for many things, except for that one position on the line.
One guy got the memo, no step back, and really took it to heart.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think he's probably going to take something else to the heart, maybe a 9-gram pension. Meanwhile, down to the south, you know it's bad when the recon forwards are going to get, 86. And even the Bostons can't keep them at arm's length.
Well, they can't. We're just seeing the blue tide move on through. Like, decent blocking positions here from Onord, but just not enough troops to actually fight effectively.
Well, and bits and pieces here, bits and pieces. So P40 comes in, stabilizes it for about 15-20 seconds until they have time to rediscover their heart, let's call it. There's still one Lee in the middle. There's another one being brought over to cut the north central side. So again, it's one of those moments that's going to be delaying tactics. But this mortar, like 51 mortar in the south, the Kev and the Vatsuvaki over here, they take that out. They're going to pick up another one. IMQ.
Star Trek fan?
It's entirely possible, but I don't really see him snapping his fingers and changing the ways of the universe too quickly here.
He has to do it in a bit more of a traditional kinetic fashion, as we're seeing in this match.
Yes, indeed. And the Finns, which is kind of funny for me that they even have an off-map artillery, because, when you think about it, that means that their entire off-map artillery branch is firing in one barrage. But
Yeah, they had a
yeah,
decent amount of artillery, to be fair. It's just very... It was a little bit of everything. It's whatever they could get their hands on.
that's true. That's true. I think much more the continuation more than anything else.
Hmm.
155 looking to try to find that 76-2. Even if he doesn't, big deal. With the Lees, I just kind of they're going to start to run afoul of all this infantry.
Oh, wow.
Jakari speeding towards him, getting blown up. But yeah, I'm seeing some twisted metal happening here. Between the
Even
Panzerfaust,
with the extra turret, he's buggered.
yes, absolutely. Absolutely. 37 mil to the north, kind of doing his thing. Yeah, I'm thinking that we're gonna be hitting the, let's say, the final aria before too much longer.
Yeah, I reckon it's ×2 at like 2605.
Sounds good. Especially right now we're at a 21-3, so yeah.
As you see, the replay has not long left.
But alright, so 76-2, we see the Gornstrokis over here kind of doing their thing. And the Finns even bringing in their biplane rockets as a little bit of like a little kind of like celebration moment. But, yeah, wow.
Pretty efficient 1100 KD.
Yeah, I'm quite surprised. I'm quite surprised by that. P40 did decently well in the ground attack role, but other than that, a lot of your stuff just couldn't get kills, which is very, very surprising. Usually, at least the Gornos can tend to be at least a little bit more killy than that.
Yeah, they're pretty damn scary infantry, but Inshaaaa just played very effectively, using the terrain to his advantage and keeping all the battles in close quarters engagements, where the Finns work wonders.
Nick's hit over here with the Lati over here on the other side. He's going hut and moving that ball down the field 10 yards at a time, killing 4 tanks, the off-map and at least an infantry squad. Sissy over here, Hucky, excuse me, picking up 4 squads by himself. So, very much doing that Finnish thing where it's punching above their weight. Very, very well done.
Just bloody good job, yeah.
Indeed. Any final thoughts, sir?
No.
Well, folks, in that case, then, we are going to call it quits for right now until Thursday. I'm Onord.
I'm Rangru, take it easy.